This one-year-old kiwi has just arrived at its final home. It will explore Pomona Island until it is about 4 or 5 years old, when it will hopefully find another kiwi, pair up and produce one baby kiwi each year. This one-year-old kiwi has just arrived at its final home. It will explore Pomona Island until it is about 4 or 5 years old, when it will hopefully pair up with another kiwi and produce one baby kiwi each year. How are you involved in the Kiwi project?
I've been a member of the Pomona Island Charitable Trust ever since the inception, which was getting on for 6 years now, and we've spent the whole time, started off trying to get rid of the rats, mice, stoats, deer and possums off the island, and we managed that 2 years ago, and now we've been into this much more exciting phase of the restoration project on bringing birds back onto Pomona Island. So far we've brought on robins, which is a really nice thing to have. We're just out here before putting those kiwi out, and there's an unbanded robin flitting around, which means the banded robins we dropped off have bred, and there's new robins there, and it's just nice to be here and see the stuff that you're actually making a difference to conservation. And then we put mohua yellowheads on the island last autumn, and we're out here last week and we saw a flock of 21 mohua flitting around, and you think, this is really worthwhile. And now, kiwis are just sort of really the ultimate. Moas would be best, but kiwis are just about good enough, and it's just really lovely to have kiwi back on this island. It'll be nice in 5-10 years' time to be able to cruise past here and hear kiwi calling at night and think, it's just amazing. Yeah.
Why is releasing the kiwi such a significant event?
Well, I guess kiwis are that iconic thing in the whole New Zealand psyche, and people don't see them, and it's one of these things that you think kiwi is what we are, but we don't see them, and it's just so nice to have these. Well, I enjoy it because I'm quite involved in the kiwis, so I actually cuddle a kiwi and I put kiwis down holes and I catch kiwis, and it's just an amazing thing to do. I just love it.
And why was Pomona Island chosen for this?
Because it's the largest, it's accessible to. It's not, it's only a 20-minute boat ride out from Manapuru Township. It's a large island, it's 260 hectares, there's plenty of room. It's just far enough to keep rats away, and stoats can swim across occasionally, but we've got a very good trapping network on the island, and we've caught, I think, 6 stoats and we've done it, and it just suits. It's good for advocacy, people can see it, as people drive past, people have picnics here. As long as they don't bring rats on their boat, we're just really happy. And that's what it's all about. The Pomona Island Trust is about sort of bringing the birds back, showing people what New Zealand used to be like before it was invaded by mammalian predators. And it's just a good thing to do.
How does it feel to be a part of this?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's fun. Actually, it's fun. I do it because it's enjoyable. And, we're standing out here in the cold, but, just think we've done something. It's positive. Yeah.
So why was this something that you wanted to be involved in?
Well, the Yacht Squadron as a group were wholly behind the idea of what the Pomona Island Trust were trying to achieve, and we offered to help them. And we actually offered financial help at the time, and they came back and said, well, really the thing that would help us most would be if you could, we need somebody to run the trap on the mainland adjacent to Pomona Island as a first ring of defence to stop predators coming across. So that's how we got involved. One of our members, Jeff Wells, was instrumental in establishing the trap lines over there, along with help from Doc and the Pomona Trust people. And I've become involved just as helping Jeff. And basically we were motivated by the fact that we noticed a decline in bird life in Stockyard Cove, which is a particular area we like to go. And we felt that anything that would sort of preserve bird life in the area was worth doing, and so here we are.
How does it feel now that this day has actually arrived?
This is brilliant. This is absolutely amazing. Yeah.
And in the future, what do you hope to achieve through this?
Well, it would be nice to think we could eradicate all pests throughout the park, but that's not on. So we just have to persevere with what we can, and try and keep areas like Pomona free of predators, and we're doing our bit by looking after the mainland line over there.
What has been the process for these kiwi up to this point?
Okay, so they are rescued from the sanctuary in Haast as eggs, and they're incubated at Willowbank Wildlife Reserve for approximately 45 days, and then they hatch, and at that point they are in Willowbank for another 3 weeks while they regain weight after hatching, and then they're brought to the Crash Islands. These ones in particular were crashed on Centre Island in Lake Te Anau, and at 12 months and just over a kilo in weight they're brought here.
Is it right if I get him to move forward a bit? Will that be a problem?
Sure.
Cool, sorry, I've just got such a short arm.
Yes.
Cool.
We're still on.
Why is there a need for this project?
Okay, so in the wild there's approximately a 4 to 5% decline of kiwi nationally, and with Haastaka there's only 370. It is listed as nationally critical, and what we're doing here is providing the kiwi with a predator-free site where it can breed and live, and we'll be able to take the chicks that these birds produce in about 5 years' time back to Haast, and they'll boost that population back there. And it also acts as an insurance population should anything occur in the Haastaka sanctuary, critically, decimate that population. We've got birds on these islands that we can actually take back and repopulate that population with.
Why would you say Haast kiwi are critically endangered?
They're listed as nationally critically simply because of the population size. It's about 370 at the moment. They're isolated to one particular part of the Haast range between the Waitoto and the Arawata rivers. So they have a very small home range. So there's no room, there's no other Haastaka outside of that area. So they're limited in their population. So,
What will life be like for the kiwi on this island?
it'd be paradise here. There's no stoats, there's no rats, there's no one competing for food. So they'll set up territories in about 3 to 5 years' time and live an amazing life.
And future plans for this project?
So this is phase 1 for this project. So next season we'll bring a further 8 birds out to the island. So that'll be 16 birds in total as the founder population for the island. And in about 5 to 7 years we'll start coming back with dogs and staff and start looking for chicks. And this population will just continue.
And so the kiwi have got transmitters on them. Is it right that they change? The transmitters change over time?
Yeah, so the transmitter has a battery life of about 12 months. So every 12 months we'll come and change those transmitters and put a new harness on.
How do you track them? How do the transmitters work?
Okay, so they emit a radio frequency pulse that we pick up with what they call a TR4 and a Yagi aerial. So we can stand out here and track the direction of that pulse, and that's how we track in and locate the birds.
So you will know if they've passed away or died?
Yeah, so the transmitters have 2 pulse rates, a live and a mortality rate. So we can listen from even out in the lake here and get an indication of whether they're alive or dead. Yeah.
How does it feel that this day has arrived?
It's a huge weight off our shoulders, and I know it's really vindicating the effort that the Pomona Island Charitable Trust have put in. So Doc are really grateful that they've got this far, and I think it's just a wonderful opportunity that we're taking advantage of.
So how long have you been involved with this project?
We've been doing this for 6 years now.
And what has it involved?
Basically it's involved getting rid of all the pests on the island, so the rats, the mice, the stoats, the deer and the possum. And now, having got rid of those, we've been bringing the birds back, like today bringing the kiwis back.
And how many volunteers would be involved in this project, and how much time would they have put in?
We've had somewhere around about 240 different volunteers involved, and we're at nearly 7,000 hours work actually on the island, so it's a huge effort from the local community.
How does it feel now that this day is here and you've been able to release the Kiwis onto Pomona?
Pretty emotional, I think it's fair to say. Just somebody was saying to me, how do you feel, Viv? And I thought, yeah, I've got a bit of a tear in my eye because this is why we do it, to be able to save these endangered species. So yeah, it's very emotional.
And what difference do you think the Trust has made to the Kiwi haas population?
Well, hopefully by making this island predator free, it means that the haas kiwi can come here, breed, and then increase the numbers, so thereby helping to save an endangered species.
Cool. And what do you hope to achieve in the future?
In the future, obviously, we want to maintain this as a sanctuary for threatened species. So we've got kiwi here, we've also got the mohua, we've got robin, and really our next plan is actually to get saddleback here too. So the kiwi isn't the end of it. We've got to keep the island pest-free, but we also want to bring more endangered species back to the island.
How are you involved with the project?
Well, I'm one of the trustees, and in fact, before we even formed the trust, my brother Lance and a few others were keen to set the island up as a predator-free area. And like I was explaining to you before, it just didn't happen at that time. There was a lot of work. We were really keen, and we just needed to do more with our planning and stuff to get it organised. We just wanted to get in and start, and it wasn't quite that easy. But it all happened once the trust was formed, and everything was sort of legalised, if you like, through DOC, and we made a start. So it was great.
Why was this something you wanted to do?
Well, I've lived here all my life and just been pretty passionate with nature. I was involved in the venison industry for many years as a younger guy, and I've just spent a lot of time in the park here, and just a very special area. And the idea of being able to create like a safe haven, if you like, from Pomona, making it predator free. We had deer, stoats, possums, rats, and mice. There was a pretty big job. I think it was the only eradication program that had taken place at the time where we had all 5 pest species to try and eliminate off the island so that we could have it safe to, for reintroducing birds and allowing those that were there to just better re-establish themselves anyway, So yeah, it was just a great idea, really. I think that's the way we all felt about it, to be able to have it predator free, have a safe haven for the birds and invertebrate life, for the whole thing, just a nice natural island. Yeah.
How does it feel to get to this point?
Feels fantastic. It was very, very special to be there tonight, and to have other people involved, like the kids that were actually releasing not all kids, but those that were involved releasing the Kiwis themselves. It's great, and it gets people interested, hopefully, in what's going on, like sparks a measure of interest with the wider community. They can sort of see what we're doing, because there was a little bit of negativity here and there at the beginning. Why are we doing it? What are we going to achieve? Well, they'll just re-invade, and so on. But anyway, 4 years later, here we are, and it's a wonderful feeling, yeah.
Why is this project so important?
Well, there's so few areas, I guess, relative to the country that are predator-free. There's this sort of job or eradication process, if you like, that's taking place up and down the country. But there's much more area in New Zealand that is not predator-free than there is. So it's pretty special, and offshore islands just lend themselves to attempting something like that, and we've done it, so it's pretty special.